Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy Soso, and welcome back to the channel. Make sure you're hitting that like, comment, and subscribe button, and more importantly, turn on those notifications. That way, you guys get notified when we drop hits like this. This week on OnlyFans, the Dolphins snuck away with the last victory at home, 20-17 against the Bucks, and we still got some questions heading into the offseason. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go.
Yo, fans up in the building, rep the gear from toe to ceiling. 305 stays on the brim, by 95 we popping wheelies. On the way out to the rock, time to see the trio fly. OBJ, Tyreek, and Waddle, speed and swag solidifies. Tools, Babby in the pocket, got my D coordinating. With the Weaver operating, on the sideline formulating. Strategizing for that dub, let's get A-Train on the track. Chubbs and Ramsey, Phillips healthy, boy, we bout to crack some backs. Time to change the narrative, F off with all due respect. Criticism at its finest, break the cycle down the stretch. Top dog offense in the league, let's keep it going postseason. Bring that heat in cold weather, that's a Dade County reason. OnlyFans, presented by Sports with Soso.
Man, week 17, right? Dolphins get the victory at home, last one of the season, 20-17 against the Bucks. And it was, it's funny. I told my sister-in-law, I was like, yo, she's like, what's the importance in this game? I was like, there is none. One of these teams is better than the other, which is the Bucks, but they're playing like dog shit, and the Dolphins are playing pretty good. So I can't tell you if it's like the Bucks playing really bad or the Dolphins playing really good, but I do know that they got the victory, and I think the biggest takeaway for me was that Q. I say Q again. I was gonna say it again.
No, that's right? It. He has a new nickname. It's Q.
Yeah, it's Q. Quinn Ewers actually looked serviceable. Right, he didn't ball out. He didn't have a stat busting day. He didn't have like a anything to write home about. However, the biggest thing he did was not turn over the ball. Right, and against a defense like Tampa Bay, who has a bunch of ball hogs, has a good D line, who's going to be able to create pressure, time and time again. I think he did really well in protecting the ball, and ultimately that's what led the Dolphins to win the game. You know what I'm saying? They were able to play the field position game. The defense was able to get to Baker a couple of times, and they got a couple of picks as well. So it was the perfect game plan for a rookie quarterback to go in there and win a game, right? Be efficient in your throws, right? Don't force him to throw the ball too much, and get the running game going and have the defense back him up. Everything happened for the Dolphins to win that game, even the special teams failing for Tampa Bay, right? Because they missed a field goal, or better said, one of our D-line rookies blocked the field goal.
Yep.
Right.
Big block right before the first half came to an end.
Huge, right? Just for momentum's sake, right? And also for the team's sake, right? And you saw how that carried over into the second half. It was really good to see, man, the Dolphins win a close game with a decent quarterback in the backfield, because it just shows you that there is potential here, like we talked about, right? It's just a matter of really putting everything together and heading in one direction. What I am curious to ask you, though, dog, is besides the Ewers thing, what do you think this dub does for McDaniels? You know what I mean? Because I was hearing a lot of both sides, like it doesn't matter, or this could have saved his job. What do you think?
I think he's back. I think there's already been talks about him coming back for the 2026 season. And I think that, frankly, he's done, I think, enough to salvage his job. I don't think he did enough to get fired. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that there's enough here for us to go, no, he's definitely got to get out. Yeah, were we fed up with him at times this season when we were losing and some of his decision-making and all that? Sure. But, you got to also give credit where credit is due, and the Dolphins end up 1 game or 2 games back behind 500, 7-9 on the season, 5-4 home record. So I think that counts for something in this day and age, especially when you got organizations out there that can't win a football game, like the Jets or who's the other team, the Bengals. I know the Bengals just got Burrow back and all that, but their record's pretty rough right now. There's a couple of rough records out there. The Dolphins is rough for missing the playoffs. Saints. Yeah, Tennessee, that's a real rough one there. So I think McDaniels has done enough. I mean, what do you think?
I think for me, like, he has proven that he can coach, right? And I think that one of his biggest pros, right, for him staying is his ability to pivot. we all knew that there was going to be some heavy reliance on the running game, but how we ran it, how we put those plays together, right? What came after that? Not bombs down the field, short throws, intermediate throws, throws where viewers were able to, hit a good target. Those are the type of things that we needed to see Mike McDaniel's pivot to in order to solidify his position here for 2026. You're talking about 23 carries between Achan and Wright for over 139 yards. Didn't get a touchdown, but both of those guys had long run. Achan had an 18-yard run. Wright put it together a 32-yard run. Like, again, the consistency with running the football in order to make it easier for a rookie quarterback in order for us to win the game, right? If Mike McDaniel is able to continue to piece those things together and say, this is what I can do, right, in limited quantities or with limited talent in order to win games, then I think of what he can do with better talent at that position, right? And I guess we can talk about the rumors and stuff like that towards the end of the episode. But for what this week needed, right? I talk about if you're talking about just game planning to win a game against an opponent, Mike McDaniel did all of that, and you can see it in the execution. Quinn Ewers 14-22 for 172 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions.
And both those touchdowns came in the first half, which is the first time
Yep.
a rookie quarterback does that since. Can you guess who?
Tua. I'm gonna say Tua.
No, incorrect. Dan Marino.
Look at that. And the cool thing is that, again, we talk about Mike McDaniel pivoting. Look at all the guys that Q threw to. Yeah, it's sticking now. Q,
that's it. He's Q, dog.
Right?
Q dog.
Yeah, right. Targets, right? Greg Dulcich got his first touchdown as a rookie, also with 6 targets. 3 targets for Achan, 2 targets for Hill. Wilson got 2 targets.
We had a guy named Theo Weiss Jr. catch a tutter.
And a nasty 63-yarder at that, right?
It was.
Amazing catch. And this is why I say, like, the pivot is important for Mike McDaniel, because this is not the AIDS squad, right? This is not the squad that Tua had the ability to throw to. These are not the same guys. If you had Ewers throwing to Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and everybody else, like, healthy and in the beginning of the season, who knows, right? He can probably throw for 250 yards because those guys make those catches or are able to make more plays. Regardless, it just shows that McDaniels can put together a game plan to win a game. Granted, it's not against a superior opponent. It's also an opponent that's under 500, right? Teams that he can beat, et cetera, et cetera. However, the things that we saw were important. We saw a lot of the rookies play well, right? Including Ewers. We saw a lot of the rookies playing well, and that's huge. And also, the defense continues to have some type of pride, right? They don't want to go out there and get embarrassed, get 42 points put up on them to end the season constantly week after week. No, those dudes are going out there. They're playing their asses off, right? And they're really producing. Another interception for, I think it was Brooks, right? Yeah, Brooks had the interception. Jason Marshall Jr., another rookie with his another interception. Like, those are the things that I look at and I'm like, okay, there's a future here. We have talent. We just need to put this fucking thing together, And it starts with a bunch of things, but if we can put it together, fuck, man, can this team be good?
Yeah, Brad Chubb, he had 2 sacks in this game. I'm pretty sure that solidified a $900,000 bonus for him.
Money.
That's a good payday right there, bro. A nice little bonus, just for getting a couple sacks in a game. But yeah, we need him to bring that, like, from day one all next year, bro. You know who I miss, bro? I don't know
if he'll be here next year. To be honest,
yeah, that's true. He's a lot of money, but you know who I miss, bro? Jalen Phillips, dog. Yeah. I know we traded him away, bro, at the deadline. He's on the Eagles.
Pretty good, right?
Man, that kid is good, man. He was a good Dolphin, man. I miss that kid, man.
I get it, but again, to our point, like, Melifon, I always kill that guy's name, but another rookie. He played 5 tackles, 3 tackles, solo tackle. Brooks, again, leading the team, 5 tackles. Jason Marshall Jr. had 8 tackles. Jack Jones with 10 tackles. Like, the defense came to play with pride, right? Regardless if they were going to win the game or not, that's on the QB. But they weren't going to come out here and get run on over. They weren't going to come out here and get embarrassed. They weren't going to come out here and put up a poor effort on the last home game of the season when they know that a lot of their jobs, as far as coming back, depends on that, right? Including Chubb. right? Will he take a pay cut? Does he want to stay in Miami? Does he see a future with this team? Like, what does he want to do, right? There's a
Right.
lot of questions. Sealer, he's another one. Like, we don't have to get into that. But if you're talking about like how this defense is playing right now, they're playing with a lot of pride, and it's noticeable. And Baker didn't have a great day, man. They picked him off twice. They were all over him. 3 sacks, countless hits. They were pressuring him all day, and that's good for Anthony Weaver, right? Obviously, but I think it's more of a credit to the players, right? The players haven't given up on the season, and that's a shout out to them, right? A lot of us, including myself, are saying like, "Yo, just tank it, let's kill the season, whatever." But these guys are the ones out there on the field hustling and bustling their asses off, right? So it's easy for me to say, harder for them to execute. So I'm happy that they got the W, right? Because it solidifies their hard work. Moving forward, though, it does put the Dolphins, right, in a weird predicament because as we look at the current NFL draft order, we're still outside the top 10,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if we're outside the top 10, that means that we're finding ourselves in a position where we're going to rely on a GM to come through, right, and make a badass pick outside the top 10 or figure out a way to get in.
Where does it look
Top
like
10.
we are more or less? Exactly.
Right now we're at the 12th spot.
Okay, so just
Right now.
outside the top 10.
Just outside. But even like if you're talking about trading back or the ability to trade forward, you're not necessarily in a good position right outside the top 10, right? You're kind of stuck there between 11 and 13, right? 15 and on, you can kind of move on and stuff like that. But it makes it harder when you're just on the cusp of being in the top 10. So it's going to be interesting, right? What happens next week against the Patriots, because now we're on the road. Patriots, although they are, I believe, the number 1 seed in the NFL as far as the AFC is concerned, they still need to win this game, right? Because Buffalo's right on their ass. They haven't really, confirmed anything except for making the playoffs. So they're probably going to want to go out there and get this dub against the Dolphins. I don't know what to expect from Ewers, but if he continues to play like this, I think he deserves a clear shot at next year, regardless of what happens, whether we draft a quarterback, bring one in. He deserves a shot to say, hey, give me an off season. Let me take the training wheels off and let me see what I can do.
He's definitely going to be battling. I mean, if he goes out and does what he just did, again against the Patriots, that Patriots team that is done pretty good this year. Why not, bro? I know things can change in the offseason and, people regress or whatever the case may be, but he's been in our system. If McDaniels is going to be here for sure, then, then it's like, yeah, you got to give him another shot at least, I would think.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think that's like the mindset heading into the week for the Dolphins in this last week, week 18. Go out there and put a good performance, right? Obviously, you have a lot to gain individually, right? Money, tiers, all this stuff. But you always want to go out on a winning note, right? And it's a 4:30 game Sunday against the Patriots in New England.
I totally forgot we had one last game, bro. These 18-week seasons are crazy.
Yeah, they're wild.
So if we win, we'll finish 8-9, 1 game back of 500, and if we
probably
lose,
puts us closest to 15.
We'll finish at 7-10, which is so. What's the difference between
11.
winning this game and losing it? Like 4 or 5.
You're talking about
picks?
3 to 5 picks. 3 to 5 picks. And then even if you're thinking about dropping back, right, that might even change what you get in return, right? Because if you're closer to the top 10 or 12 or 11, you may be able to get a second, an extra third, right, in return. But if you're closer to 15, 16, that third might turn into a 4th round pick. You get me? As far as compensation for you trading out of there. So yeah, it's interesting, right? It's interesting. I don't want to see them tank. I want to see them go out and beat the Patriots, even though our homie Andy Borregales is on that team, right? We want to go out there and beat the Pats. I just don't know if it's doable because the Pats have a lot on the line, and they're playing for the overall number 1 seed, even though Denver pretty much has it locked up.
Arguably in playoff form right now, the way that they're playing.
Yeah.
Drake May is playing out of his mind. Potential MVP candidate. It's like him,
possibly,
Stafford.
bro.
I mean, who else? Who else do you got as an MVP candidate this year? Him, Stafford.
I mean, McCaffrey's got to win it, dog. Because without McCaffrey, dog, the 49ers are a 3-10, and 3-13 team, dog. Like, let's be honest. They be the Panthers of old. But they got a really good defense and an even better coaching staff, right? And that goes highly, highly underrated. offensively, defensively, all that. Kind of interesting, right? What happens here against the Pats on Sunday? Um, One question for you though: if it was up to you, would you go all out and win this game, or would you try to lose gracefully in order to get closer to the top 10, not knowing whether your job is secure?
Nah, I think you said it already. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, these guys are competitors. I would hope, that the guys that are wearing that, that aqua and orange are competitors and want to win every single game, especially
Yeah,
against a division rival. You know what I mean? If we're
right.
out of it, but it's a chance to maybe just kind of stir the pot a little bit between the other two guys that are in it, then yeah, why not, man? Let's go out there and win it. If it's a matter of 4 or 5 picks, I know that could be a big deal. But at the same time, it's like, let's worry about this season right now. Let's just go out. We want one last win, and we'll figure out next season when we get there. Whatever pick we get,
For
we'll
sure.
make it work. Hopefully.
For sure. I'm in the same boat, bro. I'm in the same boat. I think that we need to go out there and just win this game for pride's sake and say, all right, fuck it. Let's move into 2026, 2027 season with at least some momentum behind us, right? Regardless of who's here, as an organization, let's get some momentum, right?
Yeah.
Because we won't be able to get it from the playoffs. That's for damn sure. Let's end this episode on a hypothetical, right? There's been a lot of rumors about the Ravens and Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson and there being potential breakups over there. And I saw something on Twitter and it kind of X, whatever, it kind of drove me to think. And it was like, man, what would you be willing to give up to get Lamar Jackson, right? Because a couple of years ago, when his extension was on the line and they had to make the deal, whether or not they extend him and stuff like that, they were pretty much asking for 2 first-round picks, all right? And nobody went after it. Nobody said, hey, here's the 2 first-round picks. I'll take Lamar off your hands happily. Now he's a little bit older, a little bit injured, but he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league and obviously in the AFC. Would you be comfortable with giving up at least 2.5 first-round picks, half being that it could turn into a second or third round or 3 first-round picks for Lamar Jackson?
No, not right
No,
now.
huh? Yeah, I don't think so either.
Much.
My,
I
my
wouldn't want to give up that much because of the fact that the Lamar Jackson that we be getting is not the MVP Lamar. Because
mm,
this season alone, he took a step back. You don't see, and I don't know if this was him, his trainers, the coaching staff, or
right.
what, but or having Derrick Henry back there or whatever. But you don't see Lamar take off anymore. You don't see
Yeah,
Lamar, break down defenses, extending plays, and then just cutting up field and running for 40, 50 yards. And that's what made Lamar so enticing, was that ability to be able to just flip the game on its side and do whatever he wanted.
yeah,
So no, I don't think that that's a reasonable ask right now. Maybe for one first rounder, Lamar Jackson, sure, absolutely, bring the kid back home, he'll fill the stands, all that good stuff. But more than 2 first-round picks for Lamar that is not necessarily the MVP prime Lamar,
right.
I don't know.
I think the only tough part about that equation is like you said, he's obviously not the same Lamar Jackson where he's just running all the time. And I think that him, Mahomes, Allen, right, that elite quarterback class or group of quarterbacks, let's say, I think they're starting to shy away from that, right? Because now they're a little bit older. Now they don't want to be prone to injuries. They're trying to lengthen their careers as much as
Shout out to
possible.
Josh Allen, who's leading the league in rushing touchdowns for quarterbacks
Right, right, and,
and
and and a
yards.
lot of that has to do because his team needs him to do it. Right, they don't have the stud receiver or the stud running back like these other guys do, or had. So I just think that it's tough, right, to give up so much for Lamar Jackson. Now, if you tell me, hey, this team is a little bit more complete, we have a couple more weapons, all we need is X, then yeah, I'd be all in on that, right? Because then I can see that window being 2 to 3 years. This team is still, I don't want to say far away, but it's at least 2, 3 big steps from really competing for anything serious, right? Like we haven't won a playoff game, we haven't won a division in X amount of times. You can go on and on and on, right? We're not there yet. And for us to get to that door, right, where we can achieve those things, right, or break those curses, quote unquote, then we need to continue to build a team, right? We need to continue to solidify the offensive line. We need to continue to solidify the defense. We have to continue to find talent on the wide receiver and running back, right? And continue to move the team forward. And until we're at that point, I would be opposed to going in all in for a quarterback that's not going to really make the Super Bowl difference for us, right?
Yeah,
Would
I
he
agree.
get us to the playoffs and probably win a playoffs game for us? I don't doubt that, right? I don't doubt that. But if you tell me we're getting Lamar Jackson, in my mind, I'm thinking, shit, we should be heading to a Super Bowl, right? Not just win a playoff game. We should be heading to the Super Bowl because that's what they would think anywhere else, and I'm sure that's what they're thinking in Baltimore, in Kansas City, and in Buffalo with those guys, right? And even in LA, right? With the guy that they got over there. So yeah, you need that quarterback, but you also need the team to be at that level. And I don't think the Dolphins team is at that level.
We
so
don't have that
sense right now.
We don't have that.
Doesn't make sense.
Not right now. We got a lot of bigger fish to fry in the offseason than bringing in a superstar quarterback like Lamar.
Absolutely. And it starts with beating the crap out of the Patriots on Sunday, the 4th. Make sure you tune in 4:30 games on CBS. And Patriots have got a lot to be playing for, so it's going to be a tough game. So the Dolphins, they got a lot to prove there, and it's a heated rivalry. So we're going to see how it goes, man. We always seem to split the season series with these guys somehow, some way. It doesn't matter how good or
the Miami
bad.
Miracle, baby.
Yeah, right. Like no matter how good or bad these teams are, dog, they always find a way to make this fucking rivalry like a legit one, dog, and I love it.
I can't wait.
Can't wait, man. We're gonna bring it to you.
One more game, baby.
One more game. The second to last episode of OnlyFans for the 2025-2026 season. And then, of course, we'll do our end of season recap just to see where the team is heading. But we'll get to that later. Right now, we're just focused on the Patriots, and we're focused on you, telling everybody that they know to go hit that like, comment, and subscribe button. And more importantly, turn on the notifications so you guys get notified when we drop these episodes. For Joel, it's your boy So. Till next time. Peace.
Happy New Year, y'all.